Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and as always, welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussions. This time, we will be discussing, or the title is Light Hits the Gloom, and that is because we are going through the song Kiss from a Rose by Seal, and it is we've kind of boiled it down to some kind of romance. We had Stone Age with Skrat, we had some kind of nebulous age with me, and then Dan was post-apocalyptic. So we've got a wide range here. We hope you've been enjoying that. I thought that was cool. We got some different ranges in there. But this time we're discussing, last time we discussed campaigny type of one-shot, some-shot type of ideas. Now we are discussing actual characters, either for inside of that, or you can play in that would be particularly inspired from the actual song. Before we get into all that, we need to do Dan's introductions and announcements. So, we're going to pop right into those. I'll go first like usual, and then we've been taking turns. That means Skrat is after me. So. All right. I get a bunch of squirrel faces every time. So that's what we do.
It's satisfying.
I am Adam with the Inn of Planar Crossroads. You can find us at innofplanarcrossroads.com or theiopc.com. Either one of those should work. You can find there our YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Subscribestar, PayPal, and Locals, if you would like to. We forgot. Okay, y'all are watching the introduction right now. We forgot to do our what is it? Comment for last time. Mm-hmm. You know what it is? It is Romancing the Stone Age. You'll get that if you... Maybe that was in the bloopers of the last time. Romancing the Stone Age is the...
Which will come out years from now.
But that's next week's... that's last week's episode. So that you have to go back and comment over there on it. It's Romancing the Stone Age. This one has not been announced yet, so keep in tune on that. Okay, that's my thing. So, nice. Skrat
from a Squirrel Plays over on YouTube, making videos as you do when you're on YouTube. Except mine, they're talking about writing and TTRPGs, some of that crossover, things like character building, world building, making some plots and interesting things that make you want to get into it, that kind of thing. And also get to do some TTRPG reviews here and there. It's been a hot minute, but not really, because when this one comes out, I'll have somewhat just recently done one. So, wibbly wobbly time things, or however you all say that. But it's something I like to do. I like to try and review mostly lesser known. I guess I can't say EZD6 is lesser known at this point, but that I think was the first thing I reviewed. Of course I say that, but I am still getting comments of people like, I have never heard of this. Thank you for showing me. So
that's
fits the bill. I like to do the smaller ones, and then sometimes super duper brand new stuff, and then I would like to start dabbling more in homemade stuff, because I like to show off what people work on behind the scenes, even if they don't want to make it official or sell or anything. Just like, hey, here's something cool somebody made, and they'd like to share it with you, whether it's their whole game or some characters and magic items or concepts, whatever. So, need more of that. It's been a while. That's all I got.
Sweat.
Okay.
I guess that's me.
Yeah.
Since everybody else is busy, me. Hey everybody, Dan from Avenue Studios. You can check us out on YouTube, Rumble, and anywhere you listen to your podcast. Check us out on avenuestudios.media and join us Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, for our mini campaigns. We play about 8 to 12 sessions. We will probably have wrapped up our DC20 campaign with Eddie, the lead game developer of DC20, so check that out. And of course, it is now officially Scratter Days, when we play games on Saturdays. Not all the time, it'll be random, so keep your eyes out. Scrat's bringing us all the cool stuff, all the new kids on the block, or old kids that you haven't heard of, and we'll try out those games. And then we've also got some other people. I think we will be having Peter from Tales from Elsewhere, who's been on before. He's going to run us through Tales from Elsewhere. That'll be in January. Woohoo! I'm really excited. So join us for those. Chat does influence our games. We really want to incorporate chat into them, and it makes it chaotic, but a lot of fun. So join us for those. And let's wrap this drama discussion up with a good character build.
Oh, you're getting ahead of yourself again. Levi. So
Adam likes to scold me, so I do it for him.
It's just to give me the kind of satisfaction. I don't know.
Yes.
I do think it's apropos that the Scratter days are not every Saturday. It's kind of random. It makes sense that it's named after Squirrel.
You just never know.
You never know.
We'll get a nuts campaign in there one day.
Let's do it's legit. We do have to do that.
All right.
I'm down.
Well, that means our introductions and announcements are done. We'll go to our shout out. Levi's shout out this time is Datum. That's 450 subscribers that this person has. So you can check this one out. He's done a cryptid video where he made a diorama of a cryptid video. He made a diorama of some ghost story. He's got Star Wars in there. Does miniature painting here. I think he does some kit patching on those miniatures and stuff if you're into that too. So there you go. This is our shout out. Let me see. If you pop over there, we're trying to get him to 1,000. So if you pop over there, you can tell him that either Skrat from A Squirrel Plays, Dan from Avenue Studios, or Adam from the Interplanar Crossroads, or all three, sent you. And so he'll know. There you go. Because I don't announce that I'm doing these to these people. I just kind of sneak it up on them. I try to find them and sneak it up on them. So there you go. That's what I've got. So that means we're done with our introductions and announcements. We're done with our shout out. Grab your preferred beverages. Join us around the hearth on this cold late December as we discuss Light Hits the Gloom. Skull.
Skull.
All right.
Drinkception.
Before you roll, I got some. Prevent your cheating.
Oh.
Now watch, it'll probably roll on me. So, what's the numbers here? We'll see if this works.
Well, what are you rolling? What die?
A D3.
Oh, okay. Dan is 1, you're 2, and I'm 3.
Okay. All right. We'll see if it works. Y'all watching the camera?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's me.
That's fun.
All right. Okay.
Skrat's got all the fun toys.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just Foundry.
Well, mine is going to be taking something of what I've done with the earlier thing of the campaign / mini campaign setting idea, and kind of reclaiming that and putting it into a specific character instead. So this could be a PC or an NPC. I think it's better if it's kind of a PC that gets the occasional spotlight, like in a dream sequence or stuff, because that's what I'm going to be using a lot in this. So there's a graying tower alone on the sea. This is going to be something that, to kind of bring in the pre-chorus, where it says, "Did you know that when it snows, my eyes become large and the light that you shine can be seen?" I imagine that this is kind of either a trance type of thing or a dreamscape that this player character goes into, either at night or at opportune or inopportune moments, I don't know. But probably don't want too much pressure on the other players from it, but it's just something that kind of crops up, and the other players might know about it if they're having this, because this is working in a backstory type of situation. This person's adventuring for some reason, possibly directly related to this, but possibly not. This just might be something that they're dealing with in the background that the other players eventually discover. Whether they kind of sit in and listen to the dream thing that happens, or they discover it through other means. The graying tower alone by the sea is in this dreamscape, the light, and you became the light on the dark side of me. This person has a bad history in the past, but this romantic interest that they had was the best part of them. They lit up that dark side of them. And this love remained a drug. That's the high and not the pill. So maybe it's like a drug abuse problem in the past, depending on where you are, how you want to handle that. The chorus is, again, you can either use Rose as a... You might take it where you go literally with this, where a kiss from a Rose is the girl, and then the player is called Gray, or, that's just his name. His name's something Gray. And that's the Rose and the Gray connection. You can do that. But the Gray could also just be this perpetual looming fog that's around in this dreamscape. So I imagine it is almost stark white, but there's this fog, and there's this graying tower alone by the sea. And the way you would get this solved or worked around might depend a little bit on your campaign setting. But there's got to be either this coming to accept the passing of Rose, or if you want to have something more heroic, you could have it where Rose is actually trapped in this place by the sea, and he can see where she is, but he can never get to her. Yes, that's maybe why he's adventuring, if you want that heroic thing. If you don't want to go the full tragedy and say that this is him working through grief and having to accept that, and she's actually is stuck with him. She doesn't want to leave him until he's accepted what's happened either. So there is this kind of poltergeisty type of thing that's happening with him in this recurring dream. And you could have some of that emerge in the snow there also if you want to, and have that be in that dreamscape that it's always snowing there. And that if you're doing the heroic side, that might be a clue of where she actually is, if he's trying to find her and rescue her. So that's how I would probably go with this one as inspiration. So he gets that resolution one way or another, depending, again, if you want to do that heroic resolution or not. You want to have the more tragic, but that bittersweet resolution.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. I'm almost thinking, too, is depending on how you enter into it with GM and player keeping tabs with each other, you could not necessarily have that decision made yet and see how things unfold and where the story goes. One of those endings might be more satisfying than the other.
Or you could do like I can do at some points and be like, you find this graying tower alone by the sea. You go up and there's a skeleton up at the top. You think you're gonna get her back. And it's like, no. Psych! Tear out your heart. Do it.
Look at it bleeding. Feel the pain.
Still beating.
That's really cool, man. Love it.
Alright. So are we going like back to the top and then coming down, or are y'all re-rolling?
No. Well, I figured we would just keep going. Isn't that what we did last time?
Alright. Is that me then?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Alright, mine's nowhere near as exciting, but mine's again going with the cutesy because I was in that zone. The character. This is really just the character I think I'd be interested in playing, or I kind of came out of inspiration from the song, was that it's someone who's a young guy who's obsessed with adventure, and he wants the adventure because he's living in this normal post-apocalyptic village, and it's just the daily grind of surviving and trying to make it more than just surviving. And he fantasizes the people who get to go out on these missions, these excursions to find things and to explore the outer world. But there's this, the girl next door who's always there, and he's missing the adventure that's right in front of him. So that would be the whole character arc I would want to take this character on. So he would go out and have those adventures, and they're great adventures, but they're messier and dirtier and way more dangerous and not as daydream glorious as he expected. And to go on those, especially because I'd want it to be gritty with the slice of life that it is survival, and it is a post-apocalyptic setting to be in. And coming back eventually, I think I would have, as they're growing, I went with the, your rose is now in bloom, right? Or something close to that in the line, is when they've gotten older. And you could potentially play this in like a Powered by the Apocalypse type game system to use those flashbacks and flash forwards and stuff. But to have him at some point realize actually seeing her for the first time, that would be where I'd want to get that character art to, and where he would actually want to go and pick the rose for her. And so kind of a reversal on going off on the adventure and realizing back home is the greatest adventure you could be on. Very hopeless romantic.
Yeah, don't let me in there, because then it'd be like, oh, you finally got the rose, but Rose isn't there anymore. Like, oh. Yeah.
I mean, if the story's satisfying, then I'm satisfied.
Yeah. No, I think that works fine.
It's again a very cutesy character, and you could play it a lot of different ways. So you could build whatever character you want, but that arc is what I would be aiming for in the campaign or sessions, and trying to have that. And it would be fun if you could in this type of thing to coordinate with another player to play the girl and see what kind of things, because they would go off maybe on separate things at times and be doing separate things, and you missing each other and all that. You'd want to try to coordinate that in the game.
Oh, I got what if she's slightly younger, and then she's tired of waiting on him to go get the rose, so he comes home one time and everybody says no, she's gone to go get a rose, and now he has to go and get her.
Ooh, nice.
And depending on their roles, that's what decides if it's a tragedy or not.
I like that. That's fun. Yeah.
Consequences.
I love that. This campaign would definitely be a lot of talking with players and talking to each other and being like, okay, I'd like it to go this way. Let's aim for this, but then see where the roles take us. And that's a lot of what we do with our mini sessions, is we talk behind the scenes. And we're not deciding what's going to happen. We're just making sure our goals are aligned. So we know where each other kind of want to go, the characters. So if situations present themselves, I highly recommend that for everybody to be in even outside communication with each other as players and with your GM. I'll do one spicy thing. I don't think you should keep any secrets from the GM. I know some people love surprising their GM, because the GM gets to surprise you all the time with stuff, but for me, I always love letting the GM know everything, because then they're ready to react and they know where I want to go and whether they want to subvert that or lean into it. I don't know, but maybe that's because I'm a GM and a player. So
is that a thing people do? They hide stuff from the GM?
They have in the past.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised, but I guess, is it that common or something? Do people think that's actually a good? It seems like it would shoot yourself in the foot. It's like, I'm going to keep this a secret from the GM because I don't know.
I've seen where I get it, but a lot of times what it does seems like to me from when they say it, it's like, ooh, I get, the GM always gets to have the secrets. I get to have a secret and surprise the GM out of nowhere with this. And it's like,
that's an accident waiting to happen.
They're kind of running they're not running the story. They're adjudicating.
A well-informed GM can better anticipate your needs.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I've had players be like, hey, I want to do this thing, but don't tell the rest of the party.
Sure, right.
Oh, yeah, let's use it. That first campaign, the Neonet guy I was telling you about, he he had this whole secret thing, and I ended up making this whole other bad guy that got intertwined with the story and the whole campaign and everything, and he was part of it. Yeah, he got to turn on the party for a little while and tricked everybody. That was great.
Neonat was actually a traitor!
Well, he was for a little while.
And then he gets an
Tried to sell him out.
achievement.
I don't want to derail too much, because Skrat's got a good character to tell us. But I think it's a holdover from older systems, and potentially, I don't know.
Well, there was... It's probably a holdover, from the combative play that emerged for a little while in 2... It probably was present in 1 some, but in 2 and a little bit of 3... It started to go away by 3.5. People were like, I don't like that. And then people were talking openly about not liking that people were keeping a bunch of secrets that the GM couldn't do things with. Because you can't get mad at somebody if they don't know that you want something out of a thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't imagine how that would work in your favor. No. You just all of a sudden pull out whatever secret you had. I can actually do this. And the GM's like, no. You can't.
I think it is very much a meta. It's the player satisfaction. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah, well.
I've had players when I do that stuff, and I've always been like, just tell the GM. It's just better if they know.
Yeah,
they're not against you. They're another player at the table. I know this is.
Yeah.
It's on you
now. Every day. Anyway, more dice.
Ooh, D12.
A bunch of slants in there too.
Anyway, so I ended up taking a more mechanical approach for this. The line, the light you shine can't be seen is what gave me the idea. So I thought, speaking of players not telling their GMs and having secrets, I thought it would be neat if the players did have some secret abilities that they didn't even know they had. Like, they would discover them along the way.
Okay.
So, a good secret.
Yes.
But, and I don't know what spurred it, but for some reason I wanted to tie these special abilities to seasons in the sense they only worked during that season. That's because I guess I had it in my mind, with the Stardew Valley working the land thing with the seasons going and stuff. So an example would be with the tricky spirits. Remember I told you they worked against you, but they might be able to help you. That was last episode's teaser. So let's say you're exploring, big rock falls over in one of the ruins, breaks your leg. That's going to mess up all your farming or whatever goals and objectives you had. You find one of the tricky spirits and they're like, hey, I could fix that. Just snap my finger and your leg will be good to go, But it costs you on that meter. So you're like, So somebody's special ability, you could say, all right, during the winter, they get half damage or whatever from the tricky spirits or no damage, but they don't know that. Like, all they would know maybe is their season. So that guy that had the winter one, it's like, all right, you're in winter. So he'd kind of take the lead on social things and start experimenting, trying new things. It's like, all right, let me find my hidden ability I got here, or stat, perk, passive thing, whatever you want to say. And then that could be, all right, we made this deal. We fixed Bubba's leg over here. Let's go check out the tower and see what happened. And you go over there and you see nothing bad happen to it. And you're like, oh, okay, Unga's got the tricky spirits in the winter dealing. He can do that. And obviously at that point, I feel like the GM would have to explain in detail, this is what your ability actually is and does. But, you have gotten the satisfaction of discovering that.
Yeah.
So.
It works well with the setting being Stone Age, like early stuff. The cavemen don't know, so you don't know. But then as you come along, and then you can actually hand them a card that has the ability on it or something like that. So, and you could, if you're building out a setting, you could even use that as a setting thing where now further into your setting, as far as, whatever age you want to go into, people are born in certain seasons, they have certain special things for those seasons in the future of the setting too. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's.
But I also like the season thing too, because you just have that window. So,
right.
The guy that can make good deals with the tricky spirits, you can't abuse that all year round. It's like, nope, we gotta use that in the winter. So,
right.
And you might not get a good opportunity to use it. Bubba might not break his leg in the winter. He might break it in the summer. Who knows? But
dang it, Bubba.
Well, and just a clarification too, you're thinking you'll let the players know ahead of time that there are these abilities to discover, but
you tell them, all right, everybody's going to have this weird ability. I'm not telling you what it is, but here is your season. Perfect. So you know when to start experimenting. So
okay, you'd even give them that heads up too. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I would think you'd need to. That way it wouldn't be someone's right, but that would also be kind of encourage individual players. It's like, all right, your season's up now, it's time for you to start messing around and trying things. So like,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
And if you're doing, since this was supposed to be a lot of social focused stuff, that might encourage a different person to be the spokesperson for the group when they start dealing with all the spirits and stuff. They're like, all right, well, let me step up and do the talking and see if something happens.
No, 100%. I was thinking when you were describing it, it's the perfect way to let every player have a spotlight, let them have their main character. We always talk about main character syndrome. That actually mechanically kind of
gets you a time in the spotlight.
Right. I love that.
Depending on
that had come up in one of our chats, because the second campaign we did where everybody was mushrooms, I tried doing things with the languages, and they kept going to all these different places where they had to use different languages, and that made a different person be the spokesperson for their party. So that part worked, but as far as having different languages and not knowing things, that didn't work at all. But it was nice to have a different person leading each time they went to a different location. So
yeah, well, it's interesting too, if you want to build off of that. So you're starting in the Stone Age, so they're just getting this rudimentary understanding that they're born in summer, so they have this. They can work in the summer. They get something special in the summer. The next campaign you do, you could be like, the understanding is starting to be refined, and now they understand that it's almost like that it's kind of like what birth sign you're born under, and so you can increase the complexity, but also it would increase the complexity of having to have 12 different options now. But they would also know a bit more about what type of ability they could have in different months. And then you can always have them have to roll on when they were born. So you'd have this. It would be interesting to have.
That's a fun way to start.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to have, in the second iteration of them, that they have this fire mage or something, but he's born in the winter, and so it affects that affects how he uses his magic now. Because of being born in the winter, you're not born in the summer. So you don't have a direct boost to your fire, but you have this other thing that you can use. So those are interesting things you can do if you want to build on top of that.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
All right. We're doing good on time. And we stopped with Skrat, but now it's time for Skrat and his final question.
Dun dun dun.
I'll let y'all choose. I got a couple here.
Yes.
You pick which one you want. All right. So one question is, can you make a drama-focused game without NPCs and 100% depend on the players without turning into theater improv session? And the other one is, how many important NPCs do you think is a safe range for making that drama interesting without having too many characters? Like Stardew Valley has a ton of characters. That would be too much to keep up with, I think, in a TTRPG. So And in a similar vein, it was kind of how do you keep your NPCs from becoming too interesting, and hogging the spotlight.
Oh, too late, because they'll just pick one and adopt it. And it's probably the goblin.
It's probably the goblin, yep. Boblin the goblin. I love the challenge of the first question. I'll throw out something for that. Adam, feel free to do whatever question piqued your interest, but here's my idea, and it's basically Clue.
Nope.
Going with that classic thing of you're invited to the house, and the one NPC dies at the very beginning after sitting down. So you have an NPC there, so maybe this is cheating to set the stage, or they could arrive and already dead. So they're the only ones in the house. And they have to go solve it by exploring the house. You can have diary notes, you could have journals or computer emails, depending. So you have stuff for the GM to do. But all the role play has to be between the characters. There's nobody else there. And
well, shoot, that the Fallout one shot we did. That's how that was. It was all computer notes. So.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than the monsters you tried to kill us with, there were no NPCs.
No dialogue with NPCs.
Right.
Anyway.
No dialogue.
Skrat answered his own question without even knowing.
It was just two crazy ghouls running around.
Yep.
Ghouls gone wild.
Is that the comment?
All right, that's comment. Ghouls
That's
gone
pretty
wild.
good.
Oh, no.
Hey, your brain can go wherever it wants. I kept mine clean, so I don't know. No.
Well, I was there for the one shot, so I know where they're going.
I was playing a game with my wife, and our characters were married, so
Yeah.
I know where I'm going. Sorry. Anyways, carry on.
Did you even answer the second question?
No, I was just
you could
really
pick which one you
intrigued.
wanted to answer.
He gave
so.
us options. I was really intrigued by the first one, and now I want to try it. That would be really fun.
Yep. So my answer to the first one is obviously yes. You can do it, and you can do the clue thing. You can do it where there's also the amnesia plot where everybody wakes up and they don't know who they are.
Hmm.
Those are fun. They're all just in the same house. They don't know who they are. They don't know who each other are. They just know they all woke up. They don't know anything except kind of what they work through and discover themselves. And then they have that.
Hmm.
There's also this... I've mentioned the show before. I think it's called Identity. Let me make sure.
Oh, while you're searching for that, you talking about people waking up and not knowing who they are. It'd be neat if you did have some combat in there. Not much, but when they wake up, they have all their bags of equipment, but nobody knows which ones belongs to them. So they don't know until they actually get into a combat and find out, okay, yeah, you're just going to roll with a, D10 or whatever instead of a D20.
That's really fun.
And they can't switch until another encounter, and then they
Right.
start figuring out. It's like, oh, I'm good with the broadsword,
Yep. Okay, so Identity. Yep, that's the one. So it's kind of like Clue. It's from 2003. It is summarized as stranded at a desolate Nevada motel during a nasty rainstorm.
Oh, yes.
10 strangers become acquainted with each other when they realize that they're being killed off one by one. So this would be actually a really good one-shot where you kind of have the buy-in of, there's going to be character death, people will die, but if you die, don't worry about it. It's just this one-shot. You'll be able to play along and kind of see where the story goes. Spoilers for a, now, brace yourselves, 21-year-old movie.
Oh, no.
People born that year are drinking.
That's right. So now, 21-year-old movie, spoilers for it. It turns out that all of these guests, all of the people at the motel are internal are actually personalities of a single serial killer that's being psychoanalyzed, and they're trying to take him through this new therapy to help to use his killing tendencies to kill off his murderous side so that he can have one singular personality again. And that's what they kind of go for. Problem is that, it's all part of your personality and stuff. If you could do that and have an intrigue game and the players figuring out that actually we are all just part of one meta character that just has a bunch of different personalities. And it would be one of those things where you could sprinkle in surreal hints that the books don't all have. Maybe the books are all blank, or stuff like that. Just different things to help you get clued into the idea that this is all in the head of one person, and you're trying to come to terms with it. And so the players can stop killing each other off, or whatever is the GM might need to be a player in that to just kind of push it forward, but not necessarily. So that's where you can do that.
Shining vibes there. All the books are just one line over and over and over again.
All work and no play makes Skrat a dull boy. Right, and then there was the second question, right? Was the second question?
It was how many important NPCs do you think is a safe range before they becomes too much? And then there was also making sure they don't take up the spotlight, letting your characters have the drama. Or your players' characters, I'm sorry.
My answer for that one is you could go as low as 1 if you want to, but depending on the scale of what you're doing, and if it's a full campaign or if it's just a one-shot. If it's just a one-shot, 8's kind of pushing it, depending on what you're doing, what game you're doing, like named NPCs. 8's a little much, but you could go to 10 if you wanted to. 10's a nice round number to work from. If you go beyond 10, you're going to have them start to just stop writing people's names down. Especially, in a long one-shot. If you are in a campaign, that's kind of off the table. You can have as many as you need to accomplish the story, as long as the story is being served. And in a larger campaign, it's harder for them to take up the spotlight, because they don't usually go with you. They usually send you out, that type of thing. So I'd say anywhere from 5 to 10. 8 is good, but 5 to 10 is a safe range for NPCs in a one-shot. What you think, Dan?
I'm actually counting in my murder mystery. I think I'm in that. I think there's like 8 in the murder mystery one-shot that I do. So it's pretty close to that.
Vindication!
And that seems nice. Yes! It is. It's nice, because now some of them are not alive, a few of them, but they're still names they need to track because it's part of the mystery. So I think there might be close to 10, but a couple are dead. So they need to track the names. But yeah, that works pretty well. And I don't think I've ever had them steal a spotlight. I think my initial thought with the spotlight is letting the NPCs be a little bit reactive, and trying as much to let the players be the proactive elements in the story. I think is one of the best ways to help with that, with not taking the spotlight. Because that works well in the murder mystery. My NPCs won't offer anything. You've got to go approach them, talk to them. They'll have a cool thing that's theirs, but they will always be reactive to the players. Not always realistic to real life, because we're all proactive in our own personal stories, but hopefully. But in that case, that to me, because in a book you want your main characters to have some proactive element to them. They need to always in some way be progressing the story. So letting the PCs be the ones that are always proactive. Minus the villain, of course, because the baddies have, they do make their own decisions. But that's what makes them the baddies.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my thought.
Well, what does Skrat think, though? Yeah.
I'd learn. I would lean towards less NPCs, and I was just sitting here racking my brain on the first campaign. Granted, it wasn't a drama-focused thing, right? It was adventure and exploring, but the writer in me, I tried to make something going on there, story-wise, other than just adventuring. But I feel like I really like the less is more approach. Your running total could be up towards what you were saying, that 10 range or so, but they would only be there maybe 3 at a time, I feel like, where they would have importance and, be playing a significant role in things.
Yep.
And then, as you progress through their storyline or whatever, then you start bringing in another one as those ones kind of fade away and you don't have as much to do with anymore. That might be just because I want less to keep up with.
Well, I'll throw out as of another vindication is in my murder mystery, there's different locations, and I only have a max of maybe 3 NPCs in each of those locations.
Okay.
In total, there's about 10.
Okay.
But yeah, they're
kind of the same thing.
Right.
Because that can be a lot to juggle, especially when it's a tabletop and you're kind of having to keep a lot up here and you don't have all this, in a video game, you got the visuals and better ways to kind of keep up with things. And plus a video game, right? You can play a little bit each day, whereas tabletop, you play, and then you go away for a week and then,
And I just want to reiterate too, the joke about the goblin is, the reason it's funny is because it's true.
Yeah.
You could like spit out a bunch of NPCs, depending again, like Adam was saying, campaign versus one shot. My example is a one shot, so I was thinking about what could you handle in one session. But they're gonna just let them pick it and then incorporate it in the story because
I'll say
try to avoid the Pokemon if you can, but
Oh, there's an easy way to do that. There's an easy way to do that. Tragedy strikes.
I knew you were gonna say it. Just kill it.
So, the Neonat guy in the first campaign, remember I told you I ended up making a bad guy that got super intertwined with his story, and he also ended up dipping into a couple other characters' backstories and stuff that, the players didn't know was going to happen. They're like, oh, I had this tragic accident, do what you want with this. I was like, okay, and I tied a couple of them back to this other guy. Technically, you can call this they were interested, but by the time they got to that wizard guy's dungeon, they were foaming at the mouth, ready to kill him, because they had that vested interest.
Yeah,
they were wanting to learn more and more about him. Like, how did he do this? What did he do? How do we undo this? So, yeah, that was what Skrat does in his campaigns, right? The Neonat guy, he was a rat folk dude, and he had been this wizard's little henchman because some deal gone wrong and he couldn't escape. And the rat guy had 3 siblings. There was 2 brothers and a sister. I remember, they tried to keep Neonat out. The whole time, their upbringing, they were kind of mean to him or whatever, and they were trying to keep him away from this wizard. And when they finally got to the wizard's dungeon, he found all the siblings and had to kill them one by one. And then the last one they were killing, he kind of broke the hold that the wizard had on him, and that brother broke the news to him. It's like, no, we did all this trying to keep you away, so here you are. Good job, little bro.
You saved us, little bro.
Yeah. You killed us and saved us. So go finish the job.
Yes, dude, that's so good.
They enjoy
delicious drama.
Yeah. It's pretty good. But like I said, they were ready to gut that little wizard. They were done asking questions by that point.
Yes. That's satisfying GM stuff there, though, for real.
Speaking of being done asking questions,
Nice. Segue.
that's right. We hope you have enjoyed. We're done with Scratch questions. We're done with the entirety of December. You know? We hope you've enjoyed.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. We hope you have enjoyed 2024. It's been a year. It's been good for the channel, so hope you've enjoyed. We hope you have enjoyed our shout-outs of Datum, who, as of recording, is 450 on his subs, but you can increase that. We're trying to get him to 1,000, so let him know we sent you. You can pop over to a Squirrel Plays over on YouTube. Visit Skrat. Tell him where you heard about him from. Go over to Avenue Studios. Check out their AV Epics and all the things that they do on their games and stuff. And tell them how you're enjoying Scratter Days. So, there you go. And then, we have enjoyed having you, travelers, at the inn of Planar Crossroads. As always, have a great day. God bless, and enjoy. Bye.
Bye.
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.